What is going on, YouTube? In today's video, we're playing Find the Barbarian. Just kidding, he's in there somewhere. Now, in this video, I wanted to go over the Whirlwind in 2.1. They buffed every bit of skills pretty much across the board for all classes. I had a couple questions coming in regarding the Whirlwind Barb and to put a build together. Now, I tried putting a build together while I was on the PTR, whether it be cold, whether it be fire, whether it be lightning. I couldn't come up with something that was justifiable. I'm going to go over a build here real quick, go over the skills, come back around, go over why you might want to use these, and then we're going to go and do a little bit of gameplay so you can see this in action. So the skills we're using are Revenge with Bloodlaw, Whirlwind with Wind Shear, Overpower with Crushing Advance, Warcry with Impunity, Wrath of the Berserker with Insanity, Call of the Ancients with Together as One, and for your passives, Boon of Bull Kathos, Bloodthirst, Tough as Nails, and Superstition. Now, I'm going to go over this because as melee in 2.1, especially the higher torments and the higher greater rifts, melee takes a ton of damage. You know, I mean, obviously they have the damage reduction passive, but they take a lot of damage, especially with elites. You're getting in there, you're banging around with a lot of stuff. So we're going to run with Revenge and Bloodlaw. Now you can get 2 charges with this, and you know, with this it's healing for 6% of max life, and this is something that I feel like I've had to run with as I've gone through here. There's a couple options you can go with regarding this. Ground Stomp, which we'll go over that here in just a second. But Revenge almost feels like a necessity for the Whirlwind build that I've got going here. Now I'm going to go over this. We're going to go over the gear and the Paragon points as well and how all this ties together. So just stay put. Whirlwind with Wind Shear. This changes it to Lightning, and you gain 1 Fury for every enemy struck. This allows you to not have a primary, which is why we have Revenge there. I've tried, you know, the fire. I've got enough lightning damage to kind of make it on par with fire damage. I tried with Dust Devils. I tried with Hurricane. You could run with Blood Funnel to do some healing. This is just one that I found has worked a little bit for me, not as well as I had hoped. But, you know, the gear that we have, when I was on the PTR, I would log on daily, and I would have to, you know, reload my character to get all my Forgotten Souls back, just so I could try different builds with different classes. And I really tried with this. I couldn't make it work. It will work a little bit. Well, like I said, we'll show you in the gameplay. Overpower with Crushing Advance. This redirects 35% of all melee damage back to the attacker. This is a way to kind of mitigate some of the damage as well as do some of the damage while you're in there. You're going to be in large groups. This is one, like I said, you can go a couple different directions. You can go with Ground Stomp, something like Wrenching Smash. This is going to stun it for 4 seconds. So you get a little bit of crowd control that way. Plus this pulls all your enemies in towards you, which makes great for whirlwinding because you can hit more things at once, especially if you have some area damage. So that's one way you can go with. Ignore Pain is pretty good. In 2.1, they have a belt out there that increases the duration of Ignore Pain. So if you've got one of those, maybe that's something you go with. You could run with Ironhide, add an extra 5 seconds to it with the belt. Next thing you know, you have 50% damage reduction for, you know, 12 seconds. So there's a couple options you can go with here, depending on how you want to set this up. And that's just a good way to stay alive. One way or another, you got to be able to stay alive with this build. Warcry with Impunity. So speaking of staying alive, this is going to increase your resistances to all elements by 20%, as well as give you some Fury and increase your armor there. So this is, you know, a good defense there. If you do start to lose a little bit of Fury because there's not, you know, more than one monster around, that's a good way to kind of make sure and keep building that back up. You're not going to deplete yourself that way. Wrath of the Berserker with Insanity. This is for the extra 50% increased damage. If you're having trouble staying alive, go ahead and run with a Striding Giant. Reduce some more damage that way. Thrive on Chaos. I find that you don't spend enough Fury quickly to make this worthwhile when you're running Wrath of the Berserker. However, we are going to run Bloodthirst, and we'll go over that here in a second. Call of the Ancients. And we're running this with Together as One. 50% of all damage dealt to you is instead divided evenly between the Ancients. Now this is good because it acts like a unity in the sense that you're gonna split the damage with them. You're going to find all kinds of ways to mitigate damage. The problem that I found in T6 and higher, your pets, depending on, and we'll call them pets, the ancients, don't stay alive quite that well, especially for tough, and mainly on elites. They stay alive just fine for the white mobs, but for elites, depending on the elites, they can go down pretty quickly, so it can be a little tough at times. For your passives, Boon of Volcathos, if you have a little bit of cooldown reduction, I would recommend going with this to run with Wrath of the Berserker, so you can get that down on a cooldown a little bit quicker. If you don't have cooldown reduction, you might want to consider going with Nerves of Steel, Weapons Master, a couple other options you can go with there that might fit your playstyle. You can go with Berserker Rage. I was running that for a little bit because we're going to be at max Fury pretty much the entire time. As a matter of fact, we'll run it for the sake of this video so you can see the extra damage that we're going to do with that. Bloodthirst. Now, we do spend a little bit of Fury. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit going there. With our Health Globe bonus, we have 45,000 there. So 1% of that, we're getting a little bit more life per Fury spent. So that's a good thing to have around there when you're in there whirlwinding. You need a little bit of healing. Like I said, you got to stay alive in this build. Not quite the same as, say, a Furious Charge or a Leap Quake build, so you got to work with it. Tough as Nails, increase armor and Thorns damage. You're not going to have a whole lot of Thorns damage, but the increased armor does help. Lastly, Superstition. This reduces all non-physical damage by 20%, which is good. Plus, you get the added bonus of you get a chance to gain 2 Fury when you're hit. So that's a good way to make sure your Fury stays up. You can certainly go any number of directions. Like I said, you don't need a primary. You can whirlwind 100% of the time, basically, with this. So just something I put together. We'll do a little bit of gameplay here in just 1 second. Show you guys this in action. We do have the 25% increased damage, so we're 955,000 damage. I use this for my Furious Charge build because it's all lightning, and that's kind of the direction that I went with, mainly because Call of the Ancients, mainly because I wanted to stay at max. You can certainly get more damage out of a couple different skills, but again, it's going to be a matter of staying alive. And, that extra 25% damage by using Wind Shear will keep you at max Fury, so that kind of makes up for some of the other skills. We've got an Odin's Son. We have 55% lightning damage. We've got a couple different areas. We even have a Stone of Jordan. I'm not running a Unity right now because I do have the followers, but if you're playing solo, that might be a direction you want to go. The Immortal King set, I currently have on the gloves, belt, and helmet. You can go with any number of combinations. You don't need the Raycor set. We just have it on because we transitioned over from our Furious Charge build, so it's not a necessity. Royal Ring of Grandeur to be able to hit that 4-piece bonus. If you don't have that, go ahead and throw a 4th piece of IK gear on. The rest, you can pretty much go any number of directions. Reaper's Wraps, just in case we need that Fury. We don't necessarily. I got a little bit of cooldown reduction. We're at 30%. So that's why I said we kind of hit Boon of Volcathos. It's kind of personal preference. You could easily swap this out if you find that you're not getting enough life per Fury spent with that passive. You can go any number of directions. But we'll put this in action so you guys can see how this is going to work. We're sitting at 14 million toughness, 18.5 with Warcry. I wish it held up that well. It doesn't hold up quite as much as I thought, and we'll go in here and we'll put this in action. We're going to stay pretty much at near max Fury. We're going to be able to pop overpower the majority of the time because you do get the cooldown on crit hits. So it's one of those things you can kind of stay with and keep that going. And we'll just whirlwind through here. Old school style. One of the things that was pretty cool was that they brought it back to where it's running at 100%. So that certainly does help quite a bit. No more slowdown reduction. No need to go with certain runes. I did try this with Sprint with the tornadoes, the same as the old school goes. Didn't quite work out as well as I had hoped. Found myself depleted and found that there just wasn't enough damage to go around. As you can see, the Ancients are doing a little bit of damage. We're sitting here trying to get these grouped up. We do have area damage going on. We're just going to go in here. Again, if you're on any other class or you're playing any other type of build, you're going to find that this isn't going to be the strongest build, but perhaps you don't have the Might of the Earth set. Perhaps you don't have Raycor's build, and you might find yourself needing to bridge that gap until you get enough gear. And Whirlwind can get you there. You know, there's a lot of diversity as far as, you know, skill damage goes. So it's going to be a matter of personal preference, which direction you go. If you don't have the gear yet, and this is certainly one way, stack up some... get out of there. I don't want to be there when it explodes too badly. There, we'll do that. You can see the damage is split. We didn't take a whole bunch. We're in T6. That normally hurts a lot more. But since we're splitting that with our ancients, we did okay. You know, the blue mobs are fairly easy in certain, you know, extents. If you're fighting electrified, you might just find yourself skipping those at times. They suck. They hurt a lot. And it's really hard to kill those as melee when you're attacking so quickly. This right here, on any class, you should be knocking these guys down very, very quickly. I'm going to show you. You have 30 seconds to kill these guys. We're going to see if we can get them down. Like I said, if you're playing most other classes, these guys are dead. As you can see, I am whirlwinding straight through these guys, and it doesn't work as well as I'd hoped. Like I said, you can probably squeeze out a little bit more damage going with another element of some type, but this just... it doesn't tickle my fancy, I guess I should say. I really wish it did, but it doesn't. So hopefully this is helping some of you guys that might need a build until you get the Might of the Earth set, or until you get the Raycor's build. You'll find links below in the description to the other builds. As of this video, if you're watching it at the very moment of release, we are working on the Leapquake build, just getting a little bit of gameplay with a special guest appearance from our man Bandit, who, if you haven't checked out his channel, you are missing out on some great content, Diablo and some other things as well. So feel free to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description for him. But hopefully this has kind of opened your eyes on maybe not what to do with the Whirlwinding Barb. I really wish it was stronger. We have plenty of lightning damage. We have plenty of skills in place. It's just feeling underwhelming. But again, maybe I'm doing something wrong. If I am, feel free to leave that in the comments below. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. If you are finding this to where, hey, you know, this is bridging the gap, you know, hopefully that helps. Let me know. Let me know if this is helping you out in any way. Or if there's something you think I can do better, maybe change for the video. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. You know, I'm doing this at the request of a couple members, a couple followers, I should say, and we're trying to get this going. We're trying to, you know, build this up, give you guys a couple options if you don't have the set pieces. So hopefully this is helping a few of you out, putting a little bit of time in it for you guys. As always, happy hunting, and I wish I had a little bit better gameplay for you on this one, but this is where we're going to leave it. So until then, I'll see you next time.